What's going on, everybody? Joshua Cook here with VYPE Media in the Athletic Director's Corner again, now joined virtually, of course, so distancing here by Fort Brandon Christian Academy's Director of Athletics, Kelly Carroll. Well, first, you're a softball coach. I always call you Coach, so that's
yeah, right.
Here. But with Coach, with you and your family, how are y'all doing right now with this kind of school at home and quarantine and everything like that?
We're doing okay. It's a little bit of a struggle bus with a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. There's a possibility of one of them popping their heads in here at some point that's bored. Keeping a 7-year-old entertained and then a 4-year-old away from her and him. And it's just, but, we're having a lot of fun, a lot of bike rides, a lot of miles on the bike rides. I've started actually longboard skateboarding again, trying to keep up with them. I used to do that when I lived up in Utah. But it's a little flatter here. It's a little more work than in the hills.
A little bit more work to get up a hill.
Yeah, it's a little harder. Yeah.
The down part, you're fine. Once you
down part, we're fine. But this flat surface, it's a workout. But we're having some good times. So we're trying to make the best of it.
I know this stoppage of sports is hard on everyone, but especially the spring sports right now. And of course, you're not the athletic director of Fort Brandon Christian Academy. You're also the head softball coach of FBCA. How difficult has this part been, knowing just kind of the team you had and just all the pieces you had for this year?
It's been tough. It's really tough when the reminders pop up on your phone that it's game day and you're not driving the bus. And early on, I would look down at the time and be like, I should be driving the bus home from our game right now. And even talking about it kind of turns my stomach a little. I feel for our seniors. We had a class this year, or have a class this year that's, second to none. I think this year's group it's one for the record books, just the team dynamic and the chemistry and what we had already done on the field. I wish the World of Taps could have seen these kids this spring, and who knows, maybe something will happen. I'm hoping. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen until that very last, Taps calls it. But we'll see.
And not only just softball, but spring is a busy time. You had baseball.
Yeah.
I know your track and field coaches were very excited about the team that
he was
this year. Golf, tennis, across the board.
Right.
It's really hard for all those athletes, but not only just athletes in general, but your seniors.
Yeah, across the board, we were this spring was projected to be a strong one for us at Fort Brandon Christian, and our seniors, and we've started highlighting them on social media each day. Senior spotlights. We want to acknowledge everything that they've given to our school and to their programs. And it's tough, and this is an emotional roller coaster for them. They want their proms and their graduations, and they birthdays with their friends, and it's just something that it's going to be tough for them for a while, and it's going to leave their mark on them. But I'm just trying to keep positive and give them a sense of hope, and say, instead of this being a problem, this is a situation that you can maybe create an opportunity with.
Let's just talk about, for people that don't know you or your story, kind of give your background of, where you played high school, where you went to college, kind of you're starting coaching, and now eventually to leading your own athletic department.
Yeah. So I am from Sugar Land. I went to Clements. I'm a graduate of Clements High School, and went on and played softball for Coach Evans at Texas A&M 02. And played for her all Big 12, learned so many life lessons from just listening to her, being her GA, in what Coach Evans preaches is loyalty and, doing the right thing, which might be the hard thing sometimes. And seeing, a woman of her caliber and her work ethic, and kind of to follow her, really kind of set me up to go down the path I have. From there, I went to the University of Utah and coached their softball, or was an assistant coach for their softball program up in Salt Lake City. Incredible experience. But when I had a 6-foot snowbank in my front yard in April, I decided that Texas was my place that I wanted to come back to. So came back and, kind of stayed in the softball world and coached and gave lessons. Kind of got picked up to be the softball coach at Fort Bend Christian Academy. My first spring was '07. And then kind of rolled into the position at the time. It was called middle school activities coordinator. Opened up and kind of jumped into that and have climbed the ladder from that to assistant athletic director. And I was assistant athletic director for, I think, 7-8 years under 4 different athletic directors. And put my name in the hat. Felt that it was my time to put my stamp on this program, and have enjoyed every minute of my first year as director of athletics.
You mentioned you played softball at Texas A&M. Have you had a chance to go back and see their brand new softball stadium that they've built?
Oh, yes. Davis Diamond is one for the record books. It is amazing. Last spring, Coach Evans held a alumni weekend. That was, I think, 80-something return, came back, and we got the full tour of everything. And it is extremely impressive. It's been a great chance. And what's funny is I took my children with me in April, and we did the whole Parents' Day weekend up there with some friends, and did the football game and the softball game and a baseball game at Olson. And a storm had blown in, and I called up Coach Evans, and she gave me the code, and my kids get to run around and play in Davis Diamond in the batting cage area and have run of the place to themselves. And they don't understand how cool of experience this is, but it's beautiful. Oh my gosh. I remember when I played, we didn't even have locker rooms to change in. So now that they've got the total package, I'm happy for them and her and that program. It's definitely, one of the tops in the country. Since but I'm biased.
Yeah. I've driven past it, and they've done a phenomenal job there of building their new track stadium, their new stadium. They've done a great job in it. I think also it kind of helps recruiting wise when you have a brand. Definitely. You can
always
recruits too. For you, since you played in college softball and coaching college softball over the years, because you have girls that come up that, I know Jackie Jessup's going to go play at HBU. I know SJ is looking to go play at Oklahoma. How much has college softball changed since you coached? I know the game itself hasn't changed, but how have you seen it change?
I think the parity in it across the board has changed. When I played the SEC, either most schools didn't have teams, or if they did, they really weren't competitive. It was the Pac-12 kind of ran the show, and you occasionally had Oklahoma or Texas, and we were knocking on the door a few times. That's kind of how it was. It was a West Coast sport, I felt like. And even then, the Big Ten, and they're hampered by weather a whole lot in the spring, but occasionally Michigan or Northwestern would make a run at the World Series, but it was a West Coast sport. And I feel like, in this day and age, and the money that's been put into the sport has made it across the board, anybody's game any year. You have Michigan still, but Minnesota has come out and started, they made it to the World Series last year. And, obviously the SEC and the money they put into that has helped them greatly. Big 12, Oklahoma is still always a factor. And then, you have your usual suspects, Arizona, UCLA, that you can never count out. But it's kind of nice to see it be a nationwide sport. And I know of a lot of families and a lot of baseball fans and just a lot of fans in general that have been that have started to love the sport because of the coverage that ESPN has given it. They love it. It's a fast game. You can get a whole game in about 2 hours. Keeps your attention. And you never know what you're going to get game to game. So it's been fun to watch.
What's been your advice to, young players that come up to you and say, hey, coach, I want to play college softball. That's my dream. That's my goal. How do I get there? What's your first piece of advice being a former coach and player to them?
And not just in softball, but any of my student athletes at our school, my first piece of advice to them is, don't narrow yourself down to 5 schools, and that if you don't want to go to those 5 schools, I'm not going to go play college sports. It's hard work, but I'd go back and do it again. I absolutely loved my experience. And here comes one of my little ones right now. She's outside, baby. Go. Sorry. Here's the 4-year-old. Nope. She doesn't want to be on screen. So, it's, I tell them, give me a list of 100 schools, 50 schools. And let's also not narrow it down to just D1 schools. You don't have to, there are more schools that exist in this, that compete than just the D1s that you see on TV. And that's hard because the kids just see what's on TV. They don't see, all the other divisions. So, we try to open their eyes to what's out there. One of the things, with us being a smaller school is some kids don't want to go to a big university. It's intimidating to them. So let's look at a smaller university that might fit you better. And, you have some kids that, if you're a great athlete, go to one of those smaller schools and you can start as a freshman. You're not going to be competing against, 20 other kids that have come in with your class. And that's kind of the first advice that I try to give to them is don't just tell yourself, well, I'm going to go here. I'm going to play for an SEC school or I'm not going to play at all. Well, it's less than 1% that go to those schools, and trying to kind of get that into their heads is I think the first hurdle in going to play collegiately.
So let's go back to talking a little FBCA. I know y'all got some exciting stuff coming for the not only football program, but the soccer program as well. A brand new turf is being installed at Fort Bend Christian Academy. As you mentioned kind of off air, it's got to the point where turf does age out.
It does.
No, the turf does have a life expectancy, and it became time for y'all to get new turf, and it's pretty exciting new turf.
It is. We've done a lot of research and wanted to find something that's kind of unique to our school. Wanted to see out there what the opportunities were for kind of a temperature controlled thermal option for a field, because, we are in South Texas, and, everyone that's been around a turf field, it's in August, you can feel the heat just coming up from the ground. What's out there. What's the options? Everyone talks about GMAX ratings, and now it's the HIC. HIC is a new rating for concussions that the NFL is using. What technology is out there for our students? And one of the things I went to our board of trustees and said, the director of athletics, I want to be able to go to our parents and say, no expense is going to be spared for your child's safety. Your child's brain is worth this expense. No amount of money is worth, one child getting injured, or if there's some technology out there that we could use, why not? And so we're going with a company called Symmetry Turf. They're based out of Mount Pleasant, Texas. And we're partnering with them and a company called Brock. And they have created a pad. It's called the Brock pad. And in conjunction with that, Brock fill, which is actually an organic mixture, an organic fill that will keep the turf anywhere from 30 to 60 degrees cooler than if it was a rubber infill. We have some schools up in the Tyler area that have put them in recently, and we're walking barefoot in August on their field. It's unheard of. There's zero environmental issues. I know the city of Austin's starting to consider this Brockville because everything for them runs into the Edwards Aquifer, which is important. But with this pad that's going to go underneath, and the pad is good for 25 years. And this infill, we're hopefully going to it's going to be a one of a kind down in the Houston area. We'll be the first field with this combination of AstroTurf, Brock pad, Brock fill. So I'm very excited to see it come out and be one of those to kind of lead the way in this technology. I'm a big believer in it. I've been to the factories. I've done all the studies. And I think we're going to do best and do right by our students.
Yeah, anytime you can tell a football player, hey, it's 105 degrees right now, it's 100 the turf, but hey, the turf is 20 degrees cooler, so there you go.
Right. So, it was our varsity football. We have a turf field and a stadium, and they practiced on our little side middle school grass field until almost October because it was just too hot. I'm like, what are we doing? And if we're going to spend the money, let's at least be able to use it every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's supposed to be going in. The plan is to break ground right before Memorial Weekend and get that going.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive if no one has seen these companies come in. I mean, they come in, rip everything out, roll out new turf, and stitch it all up and say,
right.
"All right, have fun."
Right. It's going to be a 2 to 3 week process, and the extra week is for that pad. Actually, it's kind of like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and each there's sections. So if something were to happen, they can actually kind of rip the turf up, replace the section of pad, and put a new one back in if something were to happen in the future. But the hardest part is the pad is pretty light. So the matter of getting a non-windy day or 2 days to get it laid out, that's the biggest challenge in this. But yeah, they say it should take 2 to 3 weeks and we'll be ready to go.
How exciting is it just for the athletes too to see a brand new turf? I'm sure the turf is going to have some kind of cool FBCA logo design, end zone design.
Yeah.
Are you rolling something exciting out?
We're trying to, be exciting, but kind of keep it classy, a little old school at the same time. You don't want to make it, it's like painting a picture. You put too many things on it and all of a sudden you've gone too far. But yeah, we're going to try to roll it out. I think the kids need to know that, we're investing in them just as much what they put back into the school. I think, what was set, the original field was built in 2009. These students that have paved the way before then, they deserve this upgrade. They've worked for it. And then, especially Coach Black and Coach Carpenter and what they've come in and done with the program in a year is awesome. It's heading in the right direction. Kids are coming. They want to play for Coach Black. They want to play for Coach Carpenter. It's becoming, we're becoming that name in our Southwest Houston area that people want to be a part of. And I'm hoping this field is just another reason they want to come.
Yeah, you mentioned Coach Black and the job he did. I mean, two seasons ago, FBCA doesn't even finish the year, didn't have enough kids to finish the year. And then this year, not only did y'all finish the year, y'all made a playoff game appearance as well.
And competed. And, we played against Austin Regents, which was a phenomenal program, and played in the championship game themselves. And the Coach Black is just dynamic. People want to play for him. We have kids that were one sport athletes, basketball players, and, other sports that want to come play for him. It was funny. The first game, week one game we had a great comeback win, huge. And all of a sudden 4 more boys showed up at practice on Monday because they wanted to be a part of what he's doing. And that's what you need on campus, especially a campus our size. When you have 312 kids in the high school, you need those athletes playing as many sports as they can.
I guess finally, before we let you go, what are some other exciting things you have going on at FBCA? I know the spring has been kind of put to halt, but do you as an athletic director, do you ready to start looking to next year and even beyond that to see how you can continue to grow and improve things at FBCA?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things we're doing right now is anything that we can take care of that we wanted to really kind of invest in May and June. We're doing that now. Like I kind of told you earlier, we're doing virtual cheer tryouts, which applications were due today. And we're going to see how that's going because we need to move forward. These kids need uniforms and be able to prepare over the summer for football season. But I think it's something that we show the kids matters. Like we're not going to just put it off because we're not there. In the fall, we hired Alex Edwards for volleyball. She's young, she's exciting, she's very knowledgeable in the game, very dynamic. She's a communicator. I think it's the right person for this program to kind of hopefully give it some stability. There's been some turnover year after year of our coaches just from a variety of reasons. So we're hoping Alex can come in and stay long-term and create a great culture or continue and grow the culture of our volleyball program. Cross country, we've always had strong runners. And we have, especially on the boys side, large number coming back. Football is doing 7-on-7 this summer, which they haven't done in many years. And they're doing off-season programs. And I know of half a good number of basketball kids that are coming out that we can use their size. So it's the fall is exciting in this summer, and we're still planning on hosting camps if we can do it. We're still planning on trying to get in touch and make sure we stay in touch with our kids as much as possible. Anything we can do as coaches for them and help serve them. I spent 6 hours on Friday driving around to my girls delivering Easter baskets just so I can see them from my car, to their door. But that's one thing that I believe strongly our coaches, show our kids that they care. I think after 1 year in this role, our kids can see the change and they can see the growth and, kind of what we are about. And we're about, yes, we want to win and we, strive for excellence, but they matter and what they contribute to the school matters. And we're going to acknowledge that to them. And hopefully they kind of see that in the moves that we're making between the field and coaching hires.
What's been your biggest message to your current athletes, not only seniors, but just everybody in general as we kind of push through this, and even to your coaches? What's been your message consistently throughout this?
My biggest message that I can think of this year that I've really been consistent about and I feel like being a female in this role is try to make sure that every kid in our program matters, from the 6th grade cross country kid to the 12th grade football player. To me, you're equal. What you're doing and the time you're putting in matters just as much as the varsity football kid on Friday night. And these kids need to know that, if you play one of those sports that's, doesn't get the huge crowds on Friday nights, that they still matter. They still deserve the same amount of time and effort that we put into, a volleyball game or a baseball game. If it's a soccer game and 35 degrees outside, that we still need to be there and show our support for them, and they can count. And so that's really what I've tried to push this year, is equality across the board for our kids. And one of the things is, we have a middle school program too. We're not just a high school. So it's all the way down to the 6th grade. And I feel that if we can keep that going where they know they all feel like they matter, then it'll actually grow our high school program in years to come.
All right. She is Kelly Carroll. She is the Director of Athletics at Fort Bend Christian Academy, also the head softball coach as well. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time and wish you and the Fort Bend Christian Academy family good health and everything during this time. And we can't wait to see y'all run out on that brand new football turf come August.
Definitely. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much.